Good morning and welcome to What's Up Ocala. I'm your host, Andrew Praver, and with me today is Marcus. Marcus, tell everyone who you are and where you work.
So I'm Marcus. I work with Gray Home Inspections. A little bit about myself. I did 10 years of the Navy prior to this. This is actually my buddy's business. We started brand new, and fast forward about 4.5 years, it's grown to one of the biggest home inspection companies and highest rated in North Florida. And
Wow.
we've been on a roll the last few years.
That is awesome. So how many inspectors do you guys have now?
So we have about 7 inspectors now. Like I mentioned, so we started the business from the beginning. So I'm the lead inspector, the trainer. So we've been able to hire, I think, one home inspector that had previous experience. Otherwise, everyone else was brand new, great personalities, really smart guys, and we just
They
keep
never
growing.
came in with bad habits or whatever.
I know.
They're straight. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
bad habits.
I love that. I love the new agents as well. So definitely. Okay. So you are a home inspector, and we were talking a lot about new home inspection. And so many people, when they purchase a brand new home, they instantly think it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's brand new. How could it not be, absolutely flawless?
Home.
Yeah, it's brand new home. So what kind of stuff do you inspect for? What stages do you inspect for? Just tell us a little bit about it, and also what you found at this new these new home inspections that
It
you do.
gets out of control. So, I mean, a quick run through of like what we do at the inspection. So we're going to run the plumbing for like 10 plus minutes, right? We're going to put stress on it to see if there's any leaks, anything that's draining slow. For the electric, we're going to try to turn on all the lights, all the appliances. We're going to put stress on electric panel, see if anything's going to trip or overheat. HVAC, we're testing the heat and the AC. We're walking the roof. We're walking in the attic. We're getting our hands on as many different areas as we can, right? Windows, doors, outlets, all that stuff right in the middle. Some of the crazy instances that we found in just the last few weeks. Electric panels, we're finding breakers getting up to 140 plus degrees.
Well, that's not good.
Double tap breakers, which that if not rated for it, we're looking for those labels to make sure it's rated for it. We're finding, roofs. I'd say like 80% of the roofs are finding like underdriven nails, exposed nail heads, loose shingles. Like it just gets out of control. Some of the fun ones in last week have been plumbing leaks or plumbing issues.
And brand new construction?
Brand new construction.
Wow.
There was an instance that I had a few weeks ago where we run the water in the first story, right? 2-story home. Master bathroom shower has some slow drainage. I like to use lots of videos. I'm like, hey, here's a quick example. We have some water sitting in the bottom. Here's how much water we have. We're going to turn off the water and stop messing with it, right? We run the water in the kitchen, the guest bathroom. We go up to the second story, run the water. Wherever that blockage was had to have been leading to the shower. So all that water from the second story filled up that shower, flooded out the bathroom. It was a disaster.
No.
So you're up on the second story too, so you have no idea until you come down. So builders showed up right away. It was a mess. They had to tear the concrete, make some repairs. It was a crack or something. Something got caught, and this is a big thing. So,
but if you hadn't done the home inspection, that would have happened after they moved in.
After their stuff is in the house, and
not good. It's not good.
It gets out of control.
You actually have a little camera that you actually put down in the pipes.
Yep. So we have a sewer scope as well. That's one of the add-ons that we provide. So we can actually go through the clean out. We'll typically go towards the street. We'll go towards the home as well. I got another few stories about that I can probably get carried away with.
Some interesting things found, especially like new construction. What could possibly be in the pipe? I mean, literally, like you would think there would be nothing in there because it's brand new. You're like, not.
There's just so many hands in these things. Oh man, there's another sewer scope video. So they order a sewer scope at the beginning. It's she actually works with the company, and she mentions like, hey, I've seen your reports. I decided to do the sewer scope because of some of the things that you guys have found. And sure enough, there's a little bit of soil erosion over by the clean out in the yard, and there's also the roof. Like there's a valley right there too. So it's like, hey, like we're already doing the sewer scope. We'll take a look, but maybe it could be coming from the roof as well. Let's investigate a little bit. Sure enough, I couldn't make it more than 3 or 4 feet in. It was just covered in dirt. Builder shows up. We pull a little bit of the vegetation. Someone must have had a shovel, and like there's a huge like 6 to 8 inch hole where all that dirt was.
Oh no!
And she's supposed to move in the next day. So now we have to deal with the plumbing issue. The moving date obviously gets pushed back.
Wow.
This is something like that. Like her house would have been backing up within the first day or so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's not good. Plus the erosion would have continued. Imagine.
Oh my gosh, it would have just been.
not good. That's definitely not good.
A headache you don't want to do it.
Yeah. No. So what's one of the craziest things that you've seen at a home inspection?
Craziest, and we're talking about like new construction or just anything in general.
Anything. Let's leave it broad and open.
Oh my gosh. So there's a house that I did probably a few weeks ago. The agent even called. She uses this all the time. She's like, Marcus, I gotta warn you, like, I love you, but this house is not going to be good. And I just gotta tell you. I was
It's
like, well,
not good when you're already getting warned.
at least I'm warned. I
Right.
appreciate that. It always makes it way better if you know ahead of
You know
time.
what you're going into.
Oh man, and I'm talking. I mean, there was roofing leaks. There's poop on the floor from the dog. Like there was pee bottles. There was termite damage everywhere. There was
Oh
polybutylene
my
plumbing. It was a
goodness.
35-year-old water heater. The list just kept going on and on and on. So I spent like 5 hours at this house just trying to, find. And I
Oh
investigate
my.
too much too. It's like I see a spot where like the ceiling is kind of caving in. Sure enough, when I'm on the roof, I could see where it's doing that same little
You
like
got up
glowing
on the
orange
roof
thing.
on that? I'd have been so scared.
I'd probably take it too far
Yeah, a
sometimes.
little bit. Use the drone.
I know, right? I'm
Not
learning my
walking on
lesson.
that.
Sometimes learn the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
it just
Good
gets out of control.
grief. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no. So, but yeah, you get up into the attics and into the crawl space. I'm not really sure in Florida what is worse, the crawl space or the attic, because the attic is going to be, what, 300 degrees in there. And I mean, it's essentially an oven. You're getting baked.
Yeah.
And then down in the crawl space is all of the creepy crawlies, and we have some really big creepy crawlies. So I don't know which one would you rather?
Honestly, it's a tough call because you're right. It gets hot, especially
Yeah.
like if you have a home that has no AC, and then you're like the last thing you want to do is get into that attic because you're just doomed.
Oh, yeah.
But crawl spaces can get out of control because you do got the critters that find their way down there. Like, and I think I told you earlier, like there's a crawl space that I did last year. It was a karate place. It's I think it's like 40, 50 years old. The guy's already owned it for like the last like 30 years, and he's like, no one's ever been down there more than like 3 or 4 minutes. And I spent an hour and a half down there. Like, there's like a milk jug on the sewage drain line. There's like termite damage. Like, there's just so many things that you just like, how is this even down here? I thought no one's been down here.
Yeah, and well, so the milk jug got there somehow.
Exactly.
So like, okay.
So yeah, I think if I had to choose, I think I would take the attic over the crawl space.
You're a true
But
Floridian now.
again, like I need some AC.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely yeah, your job is definitely not one of those that I could do. But but you guys do the searches for wood destroying organisms and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So you do like the full gamut. You do everything.
Yep. So we try to be the one-stop shop, right? So one of those includes a wood destroying organism inspection. So we're checking for the termites, the wood decay, fungi, all that stuff. And then on top of, like I said, one-stop shop, we're doing the insurance reports, we're doing the sewer scopes, the air samples, and mold samples.
Oh wow.
We try to get our hands in everything.
All of the stuff. Okay, so do you do any of the radon testing? I know that's definitely something that people are, trying to figure out, or what. I think that you can just go to Lowe's and get one of those, right? For radon.
So we haven't done too much radon testing, especially like in the Jacksonville area we're based out of. Like, it's not a concern over there. So I think
Gotcha.
it's more of like a South Florida thing, if I'm
I
mistaken.
think
Like
so. We're
everywhere
kind of
else.
like right on the border, so of where it would really kind of really be.
Mm-hmm.
So I know some people have done the radon testing, but it's not very common up here to find it in.
We've been playing with
it
it a little bit and trying to see like what information we find. But yeah, that'd be a new one we have to get into over here.
Okay, and I just had a question from somebody just last week, actually. We were talking about she wanted to be sure that she would never have a sinkhole, which that's obviously impossible because they, even if it's not there, it could be. So, but how do they, I mean, is there any, if they're really concerned about that, what would your advice be?
I mean, that's a tough call to know like ahead of time because even like structural damage, right? Like that's always the number one question.
Oh, right.
Like, new construction,
Yeah.
like people see because there's always cracks in the concrete, right? It's always that spider cracking, like pretty minimal, but it's in like 90% of the new construction homes.
Right.
So it's always like, is this
I
structural?
tried to warn her ahead of time. I was like, you're gonna see like you'll see little teeny tiny, like hairline cracks. Those are okay. Those are normal. Those are like, very, it's settling. Your house is going to move a little. It kind of, just settles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the big stuff that's the problem.
Yeah, that's where we're looking for like any kind of shifting, any kind of like lateral movement, like any kind of like anything larger than like a 16th of an inch, right? Like that's kind of like where we start to put it out there to be like, hey, like this, like we want to get it investigated, right? But
so, 16th of an inch is basically if you can fit a quarter in there.
Exactly, the quarter test.
It's the quarter test.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a good one. Yep, I like to use that one too.
And if your garage is trying to sail away from the house, that
might be a clear indicator.
Yeah.
Well, and we see it all the time too. And I have a really good reference too in Jacksonville with Alpha Foundations, and he like any kind of like question I have, he's the same. Like we could try to give the same like communication, right? But
Mhm.
I get him a quick photo and he'll get back to me within the next couple of minutes. He'll be like, hey, like, that's pretty typical, or that's what we're looking for. Or, there's a house that I did from like the 30s last year where it's like you could see like the crack in both corners of the bedroom, right? And you actually feel like they let me pull up the carpet so I can actually look
Oh,
underneath.
that's
So you can actually
helpful.
see the crack that was right there too. And it's like I sent him a quick video. He gave me a quick explanation of like what the repair would consist of and what. But like those are some of the indicators you're looking for. Like if you see cracks on both sides of the home, if you see something in the floor, like there's different things that were indicators. As
Mhm.
far as a sinkhole, like I don't know if there's things that would lead up to it. That'd be a new one that I haven't experienced,
I was like, I know that they can do it. She's like, I'm going to do the ground penetrating radar before I purchase the home. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it's basically the same as taking a lawnmower over the yard. So, it's a new one, but, if that's what it takes to make you feel comfortable, search into oblivion. I mean, just go at it. There's probably all sorts of things that you can check on a house,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
So, have you had any kind of interesting requests like that, or is it pretty much you guys already do
I think we already
grand
do a lot.
majority? I mean, to do the mold testing and to have a drone and you have the coolest toy ever, which I just thought it was really really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to everyone what that is?
So this is a thermal camera, so it's going to read temperature, right? So I don't know if I'll be able to
Probably over
show
here.
you an example. You see where she has her hand right there. If she moves her hand away, I mean, you can see her handprint still on the wall just from touching it.
That's so
So I
cool.
don't know if you
That
can
is
see it. I mean,
so
even her,
cool.
like you put the camera, like it's so, it's just very sensitive. It picks up
Yeah,
any kind of like,
it is so crazy that it can actually. I move my hand and it still shows the handprint. That is crazy.
mm-hmm.
That's so crazy.
Favorite tool hands down.
Yeah,
There's so
right.
many things, so many plumbing issues or roof leaks that I found with this that there's no stains, there's no thermal, or sorry, there's no stains, there's no cracks or anything. It's just there, and this picks it right up. So
So you'll see the moisture because of it's cooler than
yeah,
the surrounding. That is really
it's a
neat.
slight little temperature difference, and it's all it needs. So
Wow. So what? Let's say you do see, an area with the thermal camera. What do you do next?
So the next thing is because we have to confirm that it is moisture, right? Because there's so many things that thermal anomaly can keep coming from. Like even the attic, like it could be a tool or something that's sitting right there, and it just has
Hmm.
a weird shape to it, or there if there's like the HVAC ductwork, if it's something sitting against the wall or the ceiling, like that might be a thermal anomaly as well, right? So that's where the moisture meter comes into play. It's just this little like black box, and so it can detect if it gets above like 20% is kind of that magic number we're looking for. So anything above that is to confirm whether it's moisture.
Hmm.
So like I said, and I'll take that tool around like all the doors and the windows, any kind of penetration, through the siding. There's a 4-year-old home that we inspected like a year or two ago, and it was this big beautiful home, like multi-million-dollar home, and they forgot to install flashing at all the doors and the windows. So going through, like you don't see anything, there's no stains or anything. We just kind of start randomly walking around with that moisture meter. It's like, holy wow, like there's moisture at all these doors. Like we were not expecting that. And sure
Yeah.
enough, like whenever they went to go make repairs, they found out that there's no flashing. So it's this 3 to 4 year old home with nothing there. And the wood was already being destroyed. They had to like redo the balconies and do a couple other
Oh
things. Like it
no.
was nuts. So
Wow. And just because of the moisture meter and the
randomly walking
infrared.
around with
Wow.
it.
That is crazy. They must love you. Like really, I'm sure your customers love you, but what do the the home builders and stuff think? I mean, they gotta be like, oh no, not you again.
Like I said, I've been able to build a good reputation with a lot of these guys, because again, like I try not to make anyone seem like the bad guy. Like the way I see it is there's just a lot of hands involved with this. We all want to have a good product. Like I mentioned, like I was in the military, right? You never did a single job without someone go behind you to make sure that it was done correct, because you were dealing with aircraft. Like so you're having like the worker, you have a CDI check, and then a lot of things have like a QA check. So sometimes there's like 2 or 3 other people going behind you to check this stuff. So I kind of have that same mentality, like, hey, like no one's saying you're doing it wrong, but things happen. There's just a lot of hands involved. Like we're just here to help and have a good product. So like a lot of times when you have that communication, and I even tell the customer, like you can give the builder my number, I can make a quick phone call and explain it a little bit better, and it just helps. So a lot of times I like, like especially like last week, there's a guy like he showed up, the builder rep, and he's like, hey, like I'm glad you're here, because we're not gonna. I feel like I feel like we have a pretty good boundary that we have set to be like, hey, we're not gonna be extreme. We're not gonna talk bad about the builder. We're just here to help make sure that we have a good home. So.
Have you ever gone to a house that you're like, I really don't think you should buy this? This is a bad idea. Well, probably that house with the roof leaks and the craziness. I don't know
Yes.
what that was about, but
I always try to go in with the right mindset. Like a lot of these instances can be fixed, right?
right.
Like we know we can replace a roof. We know we can get new HVAC equipment. Like as long as negotiations happen and different things happen, if it fits in
If
your
the
budget, like
deal is good enough.
exactly, like because it's always a question, right? The favorite question is like, would you
Yeah.
buy this house? It's like, well, like there's a. I always give the stage
Yeah.
like there's a lot of factors that go into account. As long as you're able to, if it works with your budget and things happen and things need to get replaced, like
Yeah.
anything can be fixed. Like
Yeah.
there's only been like maybe less than a handful of homes maybe that I find like we got to burn this thing down.
This is a cleanse by fire situation that you're in right here. I will hand you the match because I'm not going back
I
in there.
can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, that's
Please
that's
tell me you're
pretty
not gonna
bad.
do it.
Yeah.
But that's been very, very, very minimal. Like I said, I've done easily over 1,000 inspections, and I mean to find even those, it's like very minimal. So
That's awesome.
mhm.
So you love coming down to Ocala, you mentioned. You are about 2 hours away, so it's probably one of the other inspectors that we're going to get. Most likely, I don't know, because you have a friend over in Denellen, so there's that. Any excuse to get to the Rainbow River, I totally understand.
Love it
But
over here.
yeah, so how do people get in a hold of one of your inspectors? Like, how do they set up the appointment? What if they have questions to ask? Like, what's the best route to get to you guys?
As far as scheduling, I always recommend reaching out to the office. We have 3 people that work in the office, and they are great. They're easy to communicate with. They're able to adjust the schedule regularly. So that's why I say when it comes to scheduling, deal with them because they actually have the computer in front of them. There's a lot of times where I don't have reception or I'm trying to work, right? So it's just
Right.
easier for them. And they do awesome. We had a lot of like even with our reviews, it's like, hey, like this inspector did great, and also like whoever helped me schedule the inspection. So they get a lot of positive feedback as
And they
well.
just got to be in the office. You guys are in the attic. So.
Exactly. Please help me with the scheduling. But no, so as far as that goes, but as far as answering questions, like I always try to have that relationship with the customers too, even when I show up. Like I always give the same speech at the end. Like I don't care if you find something a week from now or a month from now or even a year or two from now. Like please feel free to use me as a resource. I'm always there to answer questions. And I do get those texts quite a bit too, like like we talk about the new construction, like we'll start with the pre-slab and the pre-drywall and the final. Like we like do that process. Like I'll be like, hey, send me if you're walking through and you see something that looks, different or not normal, like send me a quick photo. I can let you know if it's right or wrong. So like even like last week someone sent me a picture like, what are those things in the attic? And they're talking about the baffles. And I was like, oh, here's a quick explanation. I sent them a quick link and then they were like, oh, thanks, so
Yeah.
stuff like that too. Like I try to be that resource as well to answer questions.
Well, it's kind of interesting because you even on your reports and everything, they're very educational. You want to explain what it is they're looking at. You don't just like, okay, here you go, and I'm moving on. But why, the pre-slab you're talking about, like, what do you do with that? Like, why in the world would somebody care what's going on with the concrete? So just go into that just a little bit for us because I found it very interesting.
I mean, for the pre-slab, it's one of those things that a lot of people don't even think about, right?
Wow,
Like
I
it's
wouldn't
like
have.
it's the same mentality as like it's a new home, like what could go wrong,
Right.
But
Yeah.
and
Well,
I tell people too, especially in the summer months, like please don't show up for the entire inspection. Like show up towards the end. It's gonna be about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It gets hot, right? So it's just you're just this open. If I had a photo, I'd show you, but it's just this open. Like you got the vapor barrier. Everything's kind of like dug out, right? So you have your plumbing that's installed. So it's an hour and a half to 2 hours of just measurements. So you're checking to make sure
wow.
that the footers are the right, depth and the right correct width, and you're making sure that they have the plumbing in the right locations, and you're checking the perimeter. It's just a whole breakdown of like what is there before they pour the concrete. That way, if like the plumbing is 2 feet off, they're not having to tear up the concrete, make repairs, and it causes, it's to save time, money, and energy, right? So.
Okay. But you actually find stuff that are maybe not quite right, and then the builder has a better ability to get it taken care of and get it fixed, and they can move forward.
Exactly.
But I mean, I think a lot of people, they have a lot of faith in the city officials and inspectors or county officials and inspectors. But I mean, I think everybody it's possible to miss something,
Sure.
So sometimes I definitely have gone to a house that's in construction and I'm looking at it going, how in the world did this possibly pass inspection? Because the rafters are actually not holding up anything.
Yeah.
Like,
it is
why is there a gap? What like what is that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I can't sell this house to anybody because I don't think that ceiling would not hold a ceiling fan. Like that is not good. So I mean, just looking around, there are certain houses that I've gone to and I'm like, I can't sell this whoever is building this is it's just a no. We're just not
Makes
even going
sense.
to mention them. We're not going to sell them. But they pass inspection.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, yep.
Yeah, on a regular basis, I'm finding it. So like
Wow.
two instances is one is like there's a pre-slab inspection actually where the builder rep showed up at the beginning. He's like, hey, just so you know, the county guy caught this. We went ahead and made the repair. So you'll see that, and I was like, okay, cool. Like it's proactive.
Yeah.
I love it. You don't hear that a lot, and then I still found that what it was is part of the footer, like going through the interior of the home where the rebar is supposed to be installed. They forgot this section right there. And so you
Oops.
imagine like on the rear left corner over there's another section that they missed, but the county guy missed it. The builder rep missed it. I put it in the report and he's like, oh my gosh, like how did we both go by it,
Not see that
And
at
then there's
all.
another instance
Yeah.
with another builder. It's a totally different builder, different representative, and same thing. Like I got a report. This is a final inspection, and I got like 20 things in the report, and he's just like baffled. He's like,
Oh
I have
yeah.
walked by those two defects right there at least 12 times a day,
Yeah.
and I don't know how I can just walk by
Yeah.
it.
Sometimes I think they mean to fix it. I know I went to a new construction where there was a home inspection done on it, and I mean it looked great. Everything was great. I went into the bathroom and they're like, yeah, so they're definitely gonna need to fix this. And I'm like, fix what? And they're pointing at the closet. I'm going, what? And he goes to shut the door and it wouldn't shut because the closet railing was so long that you could not shut the closet door. And so I guess somebody meant to go and cut it back and then they just kind of forgot.
Yeah.
So he's like, it depends on if you actually ever want to use your closet door. And I was like, yeah, that's not good.
I
That is,
like to have the
but I
access,
didn't
yeah.
notice because the door was already open. So it just didn't even like, oh yeah, that's in the way. There's no way you're going to close that. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's just
It's
crazy.
just we go in with a different mindset, right? Like it's
Yeah.
easy to go in and have a checklist, like, hey, like, all right, I know that this person came by and that person came by, like, all right, we should be all set. And so we actually go with a different mindset to test the doors and test the windows and to get into the attic and check the plumbing and run the plumbing. Like even plumbing, like they'll still turn on the water for a minute or two. And there's been instances, like I said, that's why we're on the water for 10 plus minutes, right? Because all it takes is like after like 7 minutes, you might have like a small puddle this big. It's like if it's this big now, like imagine we have all your stuff down there and it's doing that over the years. And imagine if
Mm.
it's like a torn gasket or something, it's only going to get worse.
I mean,
So
it's
it's
it's making me want to have you come over and just check out my house that I'm living in. I have absolutely no interest in like even moving or anything, but just come check my house because who knows what's going on behind them. Just
I get that a
bring
lot.
that toy over there.
Just give me a quick
Just
little.
check all the everything. Like just check everything. But you do actually do it for pre-listing.
Mhm.
So what is the benefit to a seller that is wanting to sell their house? I mean, normally we consider the inspection a buyer's responsibility, but you're getting it more and more for sellers.
Mm-hmm. And it's been becoming more and more popular on our end. This too. We have a few agents that do it with every listener that they have to. But the benefit that you have, like, there's different reports that show they have a 20% more increased chance of closing the house without someone backing out.
Really?
Because again, like, if we're gonna find something big, like the same things that we've been talking about with the examples, like if you just walk by it and you have no idea, like now you have an idea of what you're getting into. And it's easy to give that report to, first of all, if it goes smooth, it's easy to give that report to the buyer and be like, hey, we already had an inspection done. Please feel free to have another inspection, but this is what we were able to find. So that way they have that information. But then again, if we find that roof leak or if we find that plumbing issue in the guest bathroom that no one's used for years or whatever the case is, like now you can get ahead of it and you have a better chance, like instead of having to make the repair last minute and just finding whoever you can get to get out there, now you actually have the opportunity to get someone out there and find a better deal or the better person or whatever the case is. So
Wow. Well, it is so cool that you came in. I literally would love to go out every time I go to all the home inspections because even now I learn something new every single time. I always learn something. I'm like, well, including the closets don't close like that. But anyway,
right.
but I would love to go out and actually see you do a home inspection out on the place. But it is hot as Hades outside, and I want to do it right now. So,
It's all
so maybe this fall we'll have a show come out where we're on location because yeah, this is the time of year where we don't go out as Floridians do not. You have to, but I don't.
I have
So
to keep another outfit in the truck, like
oh yeah,
between
I just
inspection.
sweat right through it. It's like the sauna experience in full yeah. So it's in full bloom. Florida's done preheating and it's now at
We're baking.
we're baking now. So but yes, but I mean, you actually have, people that you train when they come out. So they, follow you around and see how you're doing and why you're doing and what you're doing and all of that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So yeah,
That's
I
so
try to
cool.
help out, like, and even like like even if someone just wants information, right? Even like last year, there were a couple of young guys that were like trying to, they just finished college or looking for a career. They're trying to get into different trades and like, hey, like we just want to know what you have. And I was just like, hey, just come follow me for inspection or, so I always try to give that opportunity to people as well. Like I'll try to save it for like a, maybe like a newer home or something that might not be as, intense, but I have it all the time too. And even like, let's say, even as the lead inspector, like I'm the one that trains all the new personnel coming in, like, I mean, not all of them make the cut. So it's, probably over half haven't made the cut.
Wow.
Whereas this, I'm still following them, they're still following around. I'm still trying to show them and seeing how they react to different things and conversate with the customers and all those other things, right? But
And so that's basically what you're looking for, is that communication. And so it's not just actually doing the home inspection. You could do the home inspection, but that might not get you a job with your company.
exactly.
Okay.
I'm a firm
Okay.
believer too. Like it's all about the personality, right? And how they're going to have the approach. And I could teach anyone how to inspect a home. Like it's very easy to give the information as long as you're willing to retain it. But you can't teach someone how to communicate, as
Yeah.
easily. You can't teach them how to have that, confidence and how to, have that, like I say, like instead of trying to attack the builder, like how to just say that you're on the same team. Like to say, like I know we're on two different teams. I'm third party. I'm here to come after someone, but to say like I'm not here to be rude. I'm here to make sure that we have a good product. And
Right.
it's so hard to find someone that actually have that kind of communication, the correct approach. And, it's so hard to teach that stuff versus like, I could show you what to look on a roof and I could show you like how you're supposed to, run the plumbing and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so we're going
Major
to give
life
you the
skill.
tools. So, it's this over here, like this is how you're going to find a lot of your defects. Like we can
Yeah.
show you how to use that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That, I mean, it is very cool. Like
I love
I
it.
want one. I definitely want one of the, what is it called? The
So
thermal
this is a thermal camera. So it's
thermal
yeah,
camera.
FLIR.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. It is
Right.
so cool. He's got pictures and everything. It's just nifty. But yeah, using something like that, probably pretty simple, but then explaining it to the builder and the buyer and having everybody not hate you when you leave is probably, yeah, very good life skill to have.
It still happens too, I mean, there are times where like the customer's like the builder, like I'll find damaged shingles. The builder's like, I don't know what the inspector's talking about, right? And sometimes I have to make that phone call with the builder, and because sometimes like they like maybe like look through the report, but they don't really look through the report. Like
Mm-hmm.
all the defects you can have, like if there's something going on with that door handle, this could be a photo far away with an arrow pointing at it. It'll be a close-up photo to show what the defect is. And like I mentioned, I probably mentioned a couple of times, I love to do videos because sometimes a photo just doesn't do justice.
Mm-hmm.
So as I say, sometimes the builders are kind of like, look at the report, but not really look at the report. So sometimes I can have that conversation. It's like, oh, okay, like that makes sense now.
Yes.
So I have those conversations quite a bit,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Very, very, very good stuff. All right. So again, one more time, how do people get in touch with you guys? What's a good phone number or website to reach out for?
So you can Google Great Home Inspections. Will be the first one that pops up typically, but so you can search that. Otherwise, my phone number is 904-790-0591. Any questions about the home inspections? Like I said, I'm happy to have someone shadow me for a little bit. I'm happy to answer questions. If you, like I said, I'm always like if someone sends me a quick photo and is asking if something's right or wrong, I'm always happy to help in that aspect as well. But yeah, otherwise you can reach out to the office. I think it's 904-500-4729, if not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the office personnel are really really great too. They're even without being in the field, they still have a lot of information because they kind of go through the reports as well. But we have a really solid team, so they always know how to get the answer through the group chat as well.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
You've now just signed yourself up to a lifetime of receiving pictures from me. Is this an
I
ant or a
know.
termite? What do you think?
You're right.
You never
It's an
tell.
ant again.
You never tell.
That's good.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I greatly appreciate it. And definitely, I'm going to reach out to you this fall so I can traipse behind you on one of those inspections. I'll love to see what exactly you do and how you do it. Of course, the buyers you normally have at the home inspections too, as well. So often you'll also have, it's normally a big party. It's essentially a big party. Everybody's finding out, you got to do the work, and everybody else just kind of hangs out for a few hours and
Mm-hmm.
stares at walls and measures for furniture. That's
Yep.
basically how, and then the realtor just basically, I'm going to go check on the home inspector. Yep, he's still there. It's, yep.
Yep. It's the same.
Not much
It's always
to do.
two things that happen. It's either there are some people that do really well. They ask a lot of good questions. They're
Mm-hmm.
like fantasizing what they're gonna put like
Oh
in what
yeah.
area,
Yep.
and the inspection goes really smooth. And there's other times where they just kind of sit down, they're kind of falling asleep, or they're just
Yep.
kind of like, "Are we
Yep.
done
I
yet?"
try and tell them, okay, like let's wait until he's done with a certain amount, because you don't want to be up on the roof and they're sitting there asking, shouting questions, and it's very distracting. So normally, like, okay, when he's done with a certain point, you can go ask your questions then. And in the meantime, just let him do his
Yeah,
job. Like,
yeah.
let him go up in the attic. You don't want to go up there. I have had a buyer go up on the roof before, scared the bejesus out of me. I'm like, get off my insurance does not cover you or that.
It's the
Get
same
out.
speech.
Get down.
It's the same speech. Like,
It's
hey,
just
like,
like,
this is my ladder. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't have other people getting on it. Like,
no, get off. I've had one turn crawl up in the attic, which is a bad plan because you can come through the drywall. If you just step one wrong move, you're going to come through the ceiling.
yep.
Yeah, again, my insurance does not cover any of that. So, and I have great insurance, but that's just no.
No.
So just we let you guys do your thing, and then we ask the questions when you're done. When we're to that
And I
point.
try to give the same speech that like all the agents do. Like, if like, please feel free to come towards the end. I'm always happy to
Oh
call
yeah,
when I have like an
yeah.
hour and a half left. That still gives people time to like have 30 minutes to walk around, look at things.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give my run through of what I found at the inspection too, and it just saves that, because an average inspection is 2.5 hours
Yep.
ish. So it's like instead of being there and just kind of like dilly-dallying around, come for the last part of it. You still get to look at the
Okay, I have
house. You
to
still
admit
get
that's what I
to, so.
normally do. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I pull up, you're just about finished, I'm like, all right, let's hear it. Let's
That
hear
is
the
perfect.
rundown. Show it to me. What do we got? And were you at the home inspection? Yes, I was. I was there. I saw it firsthand. I was there at the tail end of it, but that's really the rest of the time is just kind of sitting there staring at walls.
That's all you need.
It's
That's all you need.
really not fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is very informative. I always learn something, at least one thing new at a home inspection. So I love that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Again, thanks so much for coming in. We will definitely be chatting with you again. And if you guys have any questions for him, just go ahead and contact Gray Home Inspections.
That's it.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.